Welcome to the TechHub.training Excel Audit Schedule Solver Challenge solution. This video reviews techniques and parameters used in the Excel Solver tool. We will go over setting up a matrix, using a sum product function, and adding parameters to the Solver tool. And you can participate in this challenge by clicking on the link in the description. All right, let's get started. So here I have the schedule solver. After reading the overview and restrictions, we see that we are provided with the table showing the different billable rates of each office here, the matrix that we'll be using for the solver tool, the audit hours needed to complete each audit, and also the hours available provided from each office. Our task is to prepare hours to schedule from each office in order to minimize the audit costs for the year. And this is a perfect job for the solver tool. But before we can do that, we need to set up our matrix with some Excel formulas. So to get started, most of these will just be sum functions. So we can start here, and all of the cells in green will be formulas. And so for the hours scheduled for the Fusco security audit, we'll just sum the audit hours scheduled from each office. And then we can just copy that formula for the other audits. Next, we want to sum the total hours scheduled from each office across all audits. Then we can copy that formula over. And then the hours remaining will just be the hours available from each office, subtracting the hours already scheduled. All right, the next formula is a little tricky. It's called a sum product function. Rather than just adding the product of each audit times the billable rates, there's a pretty efficient and clean formula that does it for us. So we'll type in sum product, and this will multiply each cell in an array and then add them all together. So the first array will be the billable rates from Sacramento times the hours scheduled. However, this formula is actually for arrays in Excel, and so we can't just hit enter. We actually have to get Control-Shift-Enter to sum them all together so that the cells don't spill out below. So that formula is done, and we can just copy it and paste it to the other audit cost per office. And lastly, the total audit cost will just be a sum of those three cells. Our matrix is ready, and now we can add in the solver tool. So we'll go to Data, click on Solver up here in the right corner, and set objective, which is our cell G26 of the total audit costs. We want to set that to a minimum. Now we read in our parameters in the instructions that the only variable cells we'll be changing are cells D14 through F19, and these are the hours to schedule. That's what we have control over. And now we can start adding in our constraints. In step 4, we see that we must meet the number of audit hours needed without excess. This means that the hours scheduled simply is equal to the audit hours needed for each audit. So that's it for Fusco Security, Family Bank, Sam's Cafe, Kiko's Rental Cars, XFF's Private Security, and lastly, Tax Preppers. So we've added all those in, and our next parameter is that we can't schedule more hours than we have available. This just means that the cells in D through F23 must be greater than or equal to 0. And our last constraint is that we can only schedule whole hours. And this is pretty simple. We can just highlight the cells again in D14 through F19 and set those equal to an integer. All our constraints have been added. Just looking over, we have all 8, and we're ready to hit solve. Solver tells it has found a solution. We hit OK, and then you might need to click into the cell to get it to refresh, and there it all pops up. And now just checking, we see that all of our hours scheduled meet the parameter that they are equal to the audit hours needed. None of our hours remaining are negative, and all of the scheduled hours are integers. And this gets us a minimum audit cost total of $103,040. right, thank you for watching.